Thank you, thank you. This is a big crowd. You set an all-time record. This is a big crowd. I wish the press just one time would turn those cameras around. They go back. Football field's back. Thank you. I wish they'd turn. Look at all the media. Look at all the fake news we have. Fake news. They ought to turn those cameras back just one time. You know, they don't do that. They don't want to show the kind of crowds we get. Because our country is angry and our country wants to be respected again. Hello, Texas. It's great to be back in this wonderful, beautiful state with thousands of proud American patriots who believe in family and freedom, God and country, and by the way, oil and guns. Unlike the Democrats, 9 months from now, the people of this state are going to send a thundering message to the radical left Democrats in Washington, D.C. You're going to tell them, don't mess with Texas because Texas is never, ever turning blue. That is, unless they rig the election like they've been doing in numerous other states. And Governor, the governor's here, your great governor's here. Don't let him do it, Governor. We had a great big victory in the state of Texas. Just be careful with these people, they're treacherous. We're here tonight for a simple reason, because together we have to save America. There's never been a time like this. There's never been a time. What Joe Biden and the Pelosi Schumer Congress have done to our country in just 1 year is a travesty of the highest order. Inflation is skyrocketing, gas prices are soaring, supply chains are crumbling. Can you believe what's happening? You can't get anything. The shelves are empty. I did a book. They can't publish it anymore. They can't get the paper, the glue, the ink. Go out and buy it. You'll like it. Murders are surging. Illegal aliens are pouring in by the millions and millions. China is threatening Taiwan. Iran is on the cusp of a nuclear bomb. Russia may take over Ukraine. Do you hear that crowd back there? Can you believe it? Can you believe it? I was just informed by a wonderful local politician, this is the biggest crowd of its kind in the history of Texas. Look at it. And the fake news will say a smattering of people showed up. The lines are going back 30 miles long. The cars are still coming. So I want to thank everybody, and it's incredible. Incredible. And we're going to have a good time tonight, aren't we, huh? So just where would you rather be on a Saturday night than a Trump rally in Texas? See, now Biden would say, where there, he'd say, where would you rather be on a Thursday night in the state of Oklahoma? No, this is Texas. He'd say, this is Texas. Well, we love you too. We love you too. And we all got screwed together, but you know what? We're going to fix it. We're going to fix it. North Korea is testing at a level like never before. The way they withdrew from Afghanistan was catastrophic and image-changing for the United States of America. Image-changing. That did so much to hurt our country. That was a moment that was so embarrassing and so horrible. And Joe Biden's weakness and incompetence is creating a very real risk of World War III. Look at what's going on. This would have never happened with us. It was never even a thought, would have never happened. If you care about your future, your family, and your country, then you have no choice. This November, you have to throw these raving lunatics the hell out of power and elect strong, smart, tough Republicans who will restore your borders, protect your safety, defend your jobs, and put America first. With Biden and the radical left, it's always America last, and that's what they do. You look at these horrible deals they make throughout the world, it's always America last. Everyone in Washington is obsessing over how to protect Ukraine's border, but the most important border in the world right now for us is not Ukraine's border, it's America's border, and we do nothing about it but let people come in and we have no idea who they are. The first duty of the American president is to defend the American border. Before our leaders talk about invasions of other countries, they need to stop the invasion of this country. It's being invaded. It's being invaded by people that should not be allowed to do. You know, we had the safest border, the strongest border that we've ever had just 1 year ago. And before Joe Biden sent any troops to defend a border in Eastern Europe, he should be sending troops to defend our border right here in Texas. When I left office, we handed so many incredible things to the new administration, but one of the best was that great secure border. And it wasn't even close. There's never been a border like that. You saw it. People tell me, they said it was like we were living in a different world. It was so nice. They had never seen it. We had stopped not only the people coming in that we didn't want in most cases, or certainly in many cases, but the drugs now are surging. We had it down to the lowest level in decades. Yet under Biden, over 5 million people trespassed illegally across our border last year alone. Think of it, 5 million people, and we have no idea who the hell they are or where they came from. But you'll be paying a price for years to come. This was not a minor incursion. This was the single largest mass border incursion probably in the history of the world. There's never been a country that would allow this to happen. You can go to third world countries or fourth world countries. They wouldn't allow this to happen. Normally, a nation has to lose a war to a foreign power in order to lose its border. And yet our border has been surrendered. And look, we have surrendered our border. It's been surrendered by our own president and the Democrats, just like Biden surrendered to Afghanistan. And now the entire planet is intruding across it as though America had been defeated on the field of battle. There's no other excuse for it. And even during the debates, nobody said that this was going to happen. Nobody said we were going to have totally open borders. And if they said it, we wouldn't have believed them. Nobody would have believed that. Biden's complete abdication of duty is getting untold numbers of innocent Americans killed. On Biden's watch last year, Border Patrol saw a 350% increase in criminal aliens breaking across our border, including 1,900% more murders. 1,900%. In the sanctuary state of New York, 3 savage illegal alien MS-13 gang member killers were charged last year with beating a 31-year-old mother with a baseball bat, hacking her to pieces with a machete, and stuffing her body into the trunk of a car. 3 months ago, an illegal alien with a prior criminal record violently carjacked a woman at a gas station in suburban Kentucky, shot her 16-year-old son who was in the car, and went on a 2-week-long crime spree of brutal carjackings and armed robbery, hurting many people right now in hospitals all over that great state. In Beverly Hills, California, the crime is so bad that rich people leave their car trunks open so the vandals and thieves won't destroy their cars when robbing them. Think of that. That's Beverly Hills. A lot of money in Beverly Hills, right? They're not so happy. You know, people have asked me, and they said, would you do it? And I said, I'll do it. I have to find it, but I'm going to do it. But it's nice to have a memory where you don't really have to read it. But let's read it anyway. Let's read it anyway. They wanted to hear the snake. I haven't done that in a long time. Does anybody know what that is? And this, as you know, has to do with immigration. Do you want me to do it? So this has to do really with immigration. And it's a very serious problem for our country. We have many serious problems. We're in the losing end of every single problem. The snake. On her way to work one morning, down the path along the lake, a tender-hearted woman saw a poor, half-frozen snake. His pretty colored skin had been all frosted with the dew. Poor thing, she cried, I'll take you in, and I'll take care of you. Take me in, O tender woman, take me in, for heaven's sake. Take me in, O tender woman, sighed the vicious snake. She wrapped him up all cozy in a comforter of silk and laid him by her fireside with some honey and some milk. She hurried home from work that night, and soon as she arrived, she found that pretty snake she'd taken in had been fully revived. Take me in, O tender woman, take me in for heaven's sake. Take me in, O tender woman, sighed that vicious snake. She clutched him to her bosom. You're so beautiful, she cried. But if I didn't bring you in by now, you truly would have died. She stroked his pretty skin again and kissed and held him tight. But instead of saying, thank you, ma'am, the snake gave her a vicious bite. Take me in, O tender woman, take me in for heaven's sake. Take me in, O tender woman, sighed the vicious snake. I saved you, cried the woman, and you've bitten me, but why? You know your bite is poisonous, and now I'm going to die. Shut up, silly woman, said the reptile with a grin. You knew damn well I was a snake before you took me in. And that's what's happening to the United States of America with immigration. I think it's pretty accurate. Do you agree? I think it's pretty accurate. It's pretty accurate. Pretty accurate. Thank you. When Republicans retake Congress, one of the first things they should do is pass a bill massively increasing the number of ICE officers to ensure that every single illegal alien Joe Biden let into our country illegally is safely and quickly sent back home. Have to do it. We're not going to have a country. Every day, Biden's incompetence is putting America at risk. As everyone knows, what Putin and Russia are doing with Ukraine would never, ever, not even possible, have happened if I was president. Never did. Never did. They would not have dreamed of it, and they would not have dared to do it. And I had a good relationship, but remember, I'm the one that broke up his pipeline deal. He wasn't happy about that. He said, you're killing me with the pipeline. Nobody else brought up pipeline. Nobody ever heard about Nord Stream 2. In the words of the great historian, and he is indeed a great historian and philosopher, Victor David Hanson. You know, Victor Davis Hanson, to me, is one of the great people around. Victor Davis Hanson. He said the only time that Putin didn't move, and he's talking about over many years, was in this 4-year period when Trump did things like take out Soleimani, kill al-Baghdadi, completely destroy ISIS, and be smart with North Korea. And he said, at Russia during this 4-year period, Russia didn't move. We had a good relationship, but he understood. We both understood. He didn't move. There was nothing like having 250,000 soldiers on the border of a country. On my watch, America was respected again, maybe respected like never before. And I was proud to be the first president in decades who did not get the United States into any new wars. I took us out of endless and ridiculous wars. Remember when I was running, they were all screaming, he'll start a war. He's that kind of a guy. No, I'm the one that got him not to fight because they didn't want to mess with us. Totally rebuilt the military. Nobody wanted to mess. Of course, we gave 85 billion of it to the Taliban. It's not even believable. We truly had peace through strength, as Ronald Reagan would say. We demanded that our NATO allies pay their fair share. And I made clear that if Europe cared about its borders, they would have to pay. They would have to pay because we were paying for NATO. And by the way, they screwed us on trade all the time, you know? They were almost as bad as China, but nobody says it because it's Europe. How nice. It's such a great place. A lot of us came from Europe at one point, whether it's us, our parents, our grandparents, but they were very good at taking advantage of the United States. Americans were not going to be played for suckers anymore under the Trump administration. It was very clear, and they understood that. A big part of the reason we are now witnessing this dangerous situation in Ukraine is that as soon as Biden came in, other countries got the message that it was back to the old days of taking advantage of the United States, that they didn't have to pay their bills, do their jobs, or risk their lives. Let the dumb Americans do it for us. The incompetence of our leaders can be scarcely believed. It's a disaster and a disgrace what's happened to our country in the last 10 months. A disaster, a disgrace. Nobody can believe it. Remember, there's a reason that Joe Biden can't walk into a sports stadium anywhere in America without being loudly mocked and ridiculed. Joe Biden, Chuck Schumer, crazy Nancy Pelosi, and she's crazy as a bedbug, that one. Nuts. He made a phone call to Ukraine to congratulate the man who just became president. We have to impeach him. Can you imagine? And Hunter Biden's taking $83,000 a month and gets $3 million sign-up fee. Even though he knew nothing about oil, you have to go to Texas, grab anybody in the audience, but it wasn't Hunter. No, but can you imagine crazy Nancy? Let's impeach the president of the United States for congratulating the president of Ukraine. And that call that was made yesterday with Biden, if that was even half what they said, that was not a good call. In fact, the president of Ukraine was saying to him supposedly, calm down, just calm down. I think we're okay, just calm down. Can you believe it? This is incredible. But their sinister faces of corruption, lawless political establishments like this should not be allowed to continue. They send young Americans to fight and die for the borders of distant foreign nations while they throw our borders open to illegal foreign invasion. We fight for other borders, but we don't fight for our own. They torture your children with masks in school while they host parties packed with unmasked donors in New York, San Francisco, and Washington, D.C. They restrict your freedom and lock you in your home while they abolish cash bail and release thousands of really dangerous murderers, dangerous criminal murderers. They release them from jail. They drive up the price of your energy for your family while they are shuttled around in limos and airplanes on American taxpayer dollars. They censor, cancel, and persecute ordinary citizens for speaking the truth while they drown your endless torment of, what they do. They have an endless list of propaganda and propaganda methods that nobody would believe, including hoaxes and demented lies. We had all of the hoaxes. The American people are sick of this entire rotten and wretched political class. Think about it. Other countries, they have a country. We have a country. All they do is try and destroy you. Thank you very much. No, it's true. It's a perfect, that was much better than I was going to come up. Thank you. Whoever the hell you are, put your hand up. Yes. Thank you. Thank you for the hand. Usually that's left for Joe Biden. I'm a little embarrassed. I just liked it much better than what I was going to say. They're fed up with politicians who rig and steal our elections and our wealth, squander our strength, and spill our blood all over the world. And in many cases, for absolutely no reason, by countries and for countries that don't even want us there and don't even like us and certainly don't respect us. In 2022, we are going to start by ending Nancy Pelosi's political career once and for all. And then we're going to kick the Biden crime family out of the White House in 2024. A really great new book by Peter Schweitzer, which is a terrific book, actually, a sad book, very sad because of what it says and represents, just reported that the Biden family has collected over $31 million from entities linked to the Chinese Communist Party, $31 million. That's in addition to the $83,000 a month from the Ukrainian energy company, which a lot of people said was very corrupt. The millions from the mayor of Moscow's wife, millions, $3.5 million. What was that for? I really don't know. Remember the laptop from hell when they found it? What did they say? The Russians did it. Oh, the Russians did it. Remember that? That turned out to be, like everything else, totally false. Can you imagine when he realized that his laptop from hell was missing and that they found it? But the fake news didn't even want, a great book on that was done. The fake news didn't even want to talk about it. And all the rest of the Biden's graph that was censored by the media and the big tech giants during the campaign. And the reason they did that is because they knew that it represented maybe 15 points and maybe more of downfall. In other words, even with all of their cheating, all of the horrible things they did during the election, even with that, they would lose the election. It represented a 15-point fall. So the media got together, and outside of the New York Post, which I give a lot of credit for, they refused to talk about it. The radical Democrats spent years investigating fake scandals, the Mueller hoax, impeachment hoax number 1, impeachment hoax number 2, the Unselect Committee on January 6th. How about that committee? And the outrageous civil and criminal harassment in New York and Atlanta of a person known as Donald Trump. Have you ever heard of him? And Biden has the real scandals, and rest assured, when Republicans retake Congress, the Biden corruption will be investigated and exposed by Congress. But we no longer have a free and fair press. If we did, all of this would end. It wouldn't be there. It's actually just the opposite. As an example, One America News. Do we like it? It's a very popular carrier of our voice, your voice, my voice, everybody's voices. And unexpectedly, last week, they announced that they're going to be shutting down. This is AT&T shutting down One America News. So what's happening is DirecTV, which is owned by Time Warner, is just, I mean, think of it, CNN. How bad, by the way, tell me, how bad and how fake is CNN? So One America News, which is wonderful, they're going to shut it down. And if they shut down OAN, you should boycott AT&T and DirecTV. You should. If they shut it down, people love it. People love it. And it's got a big audience. It's purely political. And if you look at the chairman of the board and if you look at the other people, you'll understand what's going on. And while you're at it, boycott Comcast and Xfinity while you're at it. I call it C-O-N, Concast, because it's a con job. Because they're no good. They're just no good. And they're so bad for our country. The millions of dollars the Bidens took from China also explains why Joe has refused to hold the Communist Party accountable for unleashing the virus on us and the rest of the world. Biden's letting China be rewarded, even while he's punishing our own citizens with brutal mandates and attacks on our freedoms. And by the way, we have a couple of people here that are very brave. The Herrings, Mr. Herring, I heard he was here. I just heard that. Robert Herring, Charles Herring, where are you? Charles Herring. They are the ones, and they're American patriots. They own, where are you? I want to thank you on behalf of, I'd say, 97% of the people here. They own OAN, One America News, and they have done such a job at great personal expense. I want to thank you, Charles and Robert. Thank you very much. Great personal expense. And you've done a fantastic job. And let's see what happens. Remember, DirecTV, boycott it if they terminate this incredible group of people, because they really get the word out and they get the truth out. And you can't be terminating. They have enough problems with this country without terminating the truth. It's time for the American people to declare independence from every last COVID mandate. We have to tell this band of hypocrites, tyrants, and racists that we're done with having them control our lives, mess with our children, and close our businesses. We're moving on from COVID. Whether they like it or not, we're moving on. We did a great job. Operation Warp Speed has been praised by everybody, but it's now time to move on. Remember, there are far more of us than there are of them. That's true. The Canadian truckers, you've been reading about it, who are resisting bravely these lawless mandates, are doing more to defend American freedom than our own leaders by far. And we want those great Canadian truckers to know that we are with them all the way. They are. They've really shown something. It's time to move on. Time to move on. Next year, a Republican Congress should pass a bill rehiring every single member of the military who was cruelly and wrongfully terminated by Joe Biden and his ridiculous COVID mandate, and force the Pentagon to give these patriots an apology and full back pay. We're thrilled to be joined tonight by many great Republican leaders. And I want to introduce some of them. The place is loaded. We are loaded. 85,000 people. They want to be here. They're politicians, right? And who can blame them? But they're great people. And a man that I endorsed a long time ago, very early, he got me to spend so much money on Texas. He wants to build a dam so we don't have any more floods during the storms. I said, how much would that cost? Approximately $10 billion. Oh, that sounds reasonable, Governor. But he's a great governor. He loves the state, has my complete and total endorsement. Greg Abbott, Governor Greg Abbott. Where's Greg? A man, where's Greg? Thank you, Greg. Thank you. Thank you, Governor. Looking good, Governor. A man who has been with me from the beginning. This guy is great, and he's a wonderful person, and his son has done a fantastic job as U.S. Attorney. Dan Patrick. Dan Patrick, Lieutenant Governor. Where's Dan? Dan Patrick. Thank you, Dan. We got a lot of great people here tonight. Thanks, Dan. He calls me, sir, I think this one is great. Could you give them an endorsement? I said, absolutely, Dan. Whatever you want, Dan. He's gotten a hell of a lot of endorsements, but you've done a great job, and they've been great people you recommend, I will say. An attorney general who has really led the way, somebody who has been brave and strong, Ken Paxton. Ken, brave and strong and popular. Thank you very much, Ken. They all have my complete and total endorsement, and so do many of the others. Monday is the last day to register to vote in the primary on March 1st. So you got to get out there, Texas, and vote. You're going to have some great people going against some Democrats, and they're going to win. A man who was a fantastic Secretary of Energy and an incredible governor, Mr. and Governor and Secretary Rick Perry. Where's Rick? Rick? Thank you, Rick. Thank you, man. Thank you, Rick. Now, we have a lot of congressmen, warriors with us. So congressmen and representatives, just great people. We'll start. Brian Babin. Where's Brian? Brian. Thank you, Brian. John Carter. Thank you, John. Thank you. Michael Cloud. He just went up. We gave an endorsement. He went like a rocket ship right up. Pat Fallon. Pat, thank you very much. A wonderful guy, served a long time, has done a great job. Kevin Brady. Thank you, Kevin. I mean, this one is very special because he was my doctor. He knows everything about me. I don't know if he was a better doctor, admiral, or congressman. I don't know. It could be congressman, actually. They love you. They love Ronnie Jackson, right? You know, they were getting a little nasty. They didn't like that we were doing so well. So they said, maybe this guy's not with it. And I said, Ronnie, can I take some kind of a test? Is there something like, you can, sir, but it's very hard. I said, what's hard? Well, the first questions are easy, but then it gets harder and harder. When you get to question number 30, it's pretty hard, sir. I said, well, would anyone know if I did badly, right? He said, well, you know, it is Walter Reed. A lot of people see what's happening. I better do well. He said, what do you think? I said, I don't know. I did pretty well in my life. Let's take it. And I took this cognitive test. And as Ronnie said, I got every single question right. He said I aced it. And you know, from that point on, they didn't talk. They found other things. Then they said, he wants to be a dictator. He wants to be. They went on to other things. But I think Biden should do the same thing, Ronnie. Would you administer the test, please? It would solve so many problems. I have a feeling he won't be doing it anytime soon. Do you agree? But seriously, Ronnie Jackson has done a great job no matter where he's been. They love him in Texas, and I am very proud of him. And he said about me, this is one of the healthiest human beings I've ever seen. He actually said, if he didn't eat junk food, he'd live to 200 years old, right? And he was kidding a little, but he got himself into trouble with that one. We love Ronnie. Thank you very much, Ronnie. Another man, very brave, got shot actually got shot, and he handled it incredibly well during that very horrible period that everybody knows about it. Roger Williams. Roger? Where are you, Roger? Thank you, Roger. Good job, Roger. Agriculture Commissioner Sid Miller. Sid. You know, I watched Sid on television, the first race and the second. They said, sir, you know, it's a very close race. They're telling him, some interviewer, radical left probably, said, he said, Texas is going to be very close. He said, I don't know where you come from, son, but Texas is not going to be very close. Trump is going to win it in his landslide, and that's what happened twice. So we appreciate it. Thank you, Sid. He said, I don't know what the hell you're talking about, son. You don't know too much. We have some great people from out of state. Missouri Attorney General Eric Schmidt. Eric. Thank you, Eric. Great job, Eric. Great. Arkansas Attorney General, wonderful woman, wonderful friend, Leslie Rutledge. Leslie? Thank you, Leslie. Great job. We should have an attorney general like you guys in a place called New York. We should. By the way, I think I saw Louis Gohmert in the audience. Where the hell is Louis? Louis Gohmert. I got all these people. I don't even know they're coming. Louis Gohmert, what a wonderful guy. Congressman Louis Gohmert. This is a man who's been a friend of mine from day one. Thank you, Louis, for being here. I just saw you sitting there. He's very distinctive with that beautiful face, right? Thank you, Louis. You know, I see another one. He sells, now you're selling everything. He's no longer the pillow man. He sells everything. Mike Lindell. I think he's the greatest. I think he's the single greatest purchaser of advertising I've ever seen. I said, Mike, I don't care how many pillows you sell, and now you're selling slippers and sheets, you're selling everything. I said, I don't care. You can't afford that much advertising. I think you know what he does? He waits till the show is just ready to go on. Any empty slot, he says, I'll give you $200 for it to Fox. I'll give you 200, and they'll say, no, we want 3. He said, nope, I'll go 201. You're the greatest buyer of ads I've ever seen. And a lot of other good things, too, by the way. So, Mike Lindell, everybody. Very good guy. Whoa. That's pretty good. Another man who's done a fantastic job, Indiana Attorney General, Todd Rokita. Todd, thank you very much. Todd Rokita. Thank you. Good job, Todd. Thank you. South Dakota Attorney General Jason Ravnsborg. Jason, thank you for being here. Appreciate it. They like you in Texas. They like all of you in Texas. State Senator Dawn Buckingham. Good luck. Good luck. You're going to have a good, solid victory. State Representative Steve Toth. Steve? He's a big guy for stopping the election fraud. Judge Mark Keogh. Judge. Thank you, Mark. A lot of power, that guy. A lot of power. Gonzales Mayor Connie Kassir. Connie Kassir. Thank you. Thanks, Connie. Good luck in your race. And Texas GOP chair, he's done a fantastic job, Matt Rinaldi. Thank you, Matt. Thanks. Thank you, Matt. Great job you've done. And a very special thanks to a longest-serving GOP chair, longest-serving in history, I guess, 92-year-old. I watched him. I talked to him backstage. He's still a dynamo, Dr. Wally Wilkerson. Wally, thank you. Thanks, Wally. He's still a dynamo. We're also joined by one of the greatest pitchers, easily one of the greatest pitchers in baseball history, Roger Clemens, with his incredible wife, Debbie. Roger, where's Roger? Look at him. Thank you, Debbie. Thank you for everything. We're big fans. That guy was, boy, was he good, man. Nobody messed with him. He used to throw at the head once every about 12 pitches. They went up. People were, these big, powerful hitters, they were shaking with Roger. Something else. And he won like 360 games or some ridiculous number of games. And third all-time in strikeouts, as I remember, right, Roger? What a great athlete. And your sons are all great. Your family are just great athletes. And one son, I understand, made the roster of the Detroit Tigers, right? That's great. They'll have to change the name of the Detroit Tigers because they don't want to, it's unfair to use the word Tiger. You know, they're changing the name of the Cleveland Indians. Can you believe that one? Can you believe that? They're changing the name of the Cleveland Indians. So I guess Tiger is probably at play also. Everything's at play. If you let these people get away with it, they'll destroy your whole country, okay? It's crazy. I also want to say a brief word about the atrocities this week in the Houston area where 3 brave police officers were brutally shot in the line of duty on Thursday. A Harris County officer was murdered by an illegal alien in a traffic stop on Sunday. Illegal alien, where did he come from? And another officer was also horribly killed. And I just want to pay my respects. The Houston police and law enforcement has treated us with such incredible dignity and respect. And they're incredible people, and I want to thank them. And if they want to stand up, but the Houston police have been incredible. Everybody in Texas is incredible, but our heart breaks for those courageous officers that we've just lost. We send our prayers. We send our everlasting love to their families. We ask God to help our wounded heroes make a swift and full recovery. Together, we will always back our great men and women in blue, won't we, huh? Always. Over the past 12 months, we have seen the starkest contrast between 2 successive presidents in the history of our country. Let's simply compare the records. In 1 year, Joe Biden's socialist spending binge sparked the worst inflation in 40 years and soon to be probably 92 years from what they're predicting. The grocery stores are running out of food. The Congressional Budget Office slashed its long-term growth forecast way, way back, 30%, and it's going to be much higher than that. More Americans died of COVID on Biden's watch than in all of 2020. At least 16 Democrat-run cities saw record high numbers of murders and drug abuse and every other form of crime. Suburbs are seeing surging carjackings and smash and grab. We never heard of that term before. They just run into department stores and smash the hell out of it and grab it. And they just get out for nothing. There's no recrimination. Biden has abolished the southern border, canceled the Keystone XL pipeline, re-entered the unfair and very expensive, unfairly very expensive, horrible Paris Climate Accord ripoff. It's a ripoff of our country. Caused gas prices to skyrocket by more than 100% in a year, and then begged OPEC for mercy, please, please send us more energy. He's emboldened Iran, betrayed Israel, and presided over the catastrophe in Afghanistan. By contrast, and that's just a few, I didn't want to bore you with going on, I could go on for 10 more minutes. By contrast, we had perhaps the most successful 4 years of any president in American history. Before the pandemic, we built the greatest economy in the history of the world. We created over 7 million new jobs and achieved the lowest unemployment rates for African Americans, Hispanic Americans, and Asian Americans ever recorded. And you could add women, you could add high school diplomas, non-high school diplomas, diplomas from MIT, Harvard, Yale, the Wharton School of Finance. You could add them all. Everybody was doing better than ever before. We lifted 7 million people off food stamps and 10 million people off welfare. We accomplished the largest poverty reduction in more than 50 years in the United States and the lowest African American and Hispanic American poverty rates also in recorded history. After the pandemic hit, and that horrible, horrible plague came in from China, we saved the U.S. economy and launched the fastest recovery on record. It's never seen anything like it. We handed over something that was incredible. We withdrew from the Trans-Pacific Partnership, replaced NAFTA with the USMCA, with Texas being one of the biggest beneficiaries. It's such a good deal that Mexico and Canada, you saw that Mexico and Canada want to get out of it. They'd like to get out of it, no thanks, because for years, they ripped us off with NAFTA. Now we have the USMCA. And stood up to China like never before. We stood up to China, charging them hundreds of billions of dollars in taxes and in tariffs. That's never happened before to China. And they want to now ease it up on China. Can you believe it? We unleashed American energy, and with the help of the proud Texas energy workers, we achieved American energy independence for the first time. We ended catch and release, built almost 500 miles of border wall, and would have had it all complete in 3 weeks, except they decided to stop building and reached, you take a look, reached numbers like you've never seen before on illegal border crossings. They were down by 91% and would have gone even lower than that. We would have had it almost completely stopped. People can come into our country, but they have to love our country, and they have to come in legally. It's very simple. We slashed violent crime for 3 straight years and deployed federal law enforcement to Democrat-run cities to put dangerous offenders behind bars. And we would have gone all the way, but we wanted to let them see if they can handle it first, but they turned out that they can't. They cannot handle it. Democrat-run cities are a disaster in the United States. We appointed almost 300 judges to interpret the laws of the Constitution as written, including 3 Supreme Court justices. We fully rebuilt the United States military and created the first new branch of the U.S. Armed Forces in more than 75 years, Space Force. There they are. There they are. This is something that people can't even believe, because you've heard this for years. They couldn't do anything. We crushed the ISIS territorial caliphate, 100%. We knocked out 100%. Remember I had it at 95%. I said, all right, let's go home. They all said, he didn't do 100. So we stayed a little longer. We did 100. They couldn't do it. Nobody. Bush didn't do it. Obama didn't do it. Barack Hussein Obama. How's he doing? How's he doing? How is he doing? We withdrew from the disastrous Iran nuclear deal, a disaster. Now they want to go back into it. It's a path for them to have nuclear weapons. It's horrible. Recognized Jerusalem as the capital of Israel. Recognized Israeli sovereignty over the Golan Heights. Struck historic peace deals in the Middle East, the Abraham Accords, and brought back our troops. We brought them back home where they should be. And yet another Biden disaster this week. It was reported that the administration is planning to swamp our communities with even more unvetted, unscreenable refugees from Afghanistan. Thank you very much. They'll be in a house near you. You won't even know it. Since Biden's surrender, he has already brought in thousands and thousands of totally unvetted Afghan nationals, only a tiny percentage of whom ever helped the United States. 3% deserve to be here. They came out on the planes, and there's never been a sight where 22 people fell off the sides of those planes when they were 2,000 feet in the air. Can you believe that? What was worse than that? Just last week in Virginia, one of these unscreened refugees was convicted of molesting a 3-year-old child. Under my administration, we instituted historic reforms, cutting refugee admissions by 85% and insisting that no refugee resettlement could take place without the consent of cities and states. With a Republican Congress, we must pass, and we will pass, that critical national security protection into law. It will be done, and done very quickly. But in order to truly reclaim our country, we must solve one of the most important issues of all, ensuring free, fair, and honest elections. The 2020 election was rigged, and everyone knows it. You know who knows it more than anyone else? The Democrats. Just yesterday, we had a giant victory in the great state of Pennsylvania. A statewide court ruled that the practice of no-excuse mail-in ballots put in place by Democrats right before the stolen election is illegal and flagrantly unconstitutional. And therefore, I assume we won the state. I assume. We also won a major case in Wisconsin, and they're really going strong on the fraud, where a judge ruled that drop boxes, you know, they call them the lock boxes, right? I call them the unlock boxes, that they were illegal. They were illegal. Tens of thousands of votes. He ruled that they were illegal. We have a woman with us today, Catherine Engelbrecht, who heads True the Vote, which has uncovered massive illegal ballot harvesting and other forms of ballot fraud, a scheme with 2,000, they call them ballot mules. These are people. They call them mules, people. And they walk in early in the morning with thousands and thousands of ballots, and they stuff the ballot boxes in Georgia and other states. And I just want to thank, where is Catherine? Is she around? What a job she's done. Thank you. Thank you, Catherine. And they have it on tape. Now, all they have to do is release the tape. They don't want to release the tape. They don't want to release the tape, but it's on tape. And it's on tape in more than just one state. And they're looking at it now very strongly. They don't want it to get out. They don't like it because it would show that the election was a fraud. They don't like it. Let's see what happens. Ever since word got out, they have been flooded with tips. And if you have any information about ballot harvesting in your state, call Catherine Engelbrecht or go to True the Vote. It's called truethevote.org. And I'm sure a lot of people in this audience saw plenty. The radical Democrats are corrupt beyond belief. They are viciously and unconstitutionally using the federal, local, and state governments to prosecute and silence politicians like me, although I never considered myself to be a politician, but that's what they're doing. As an example, for years they've been going after my company, many years, using every trick in the book in an attempt to literally, if they can, put me in jail. They want to put me in jail. This has been going on since I came down the escalator with our great future First Lady, who everybody loved. In Trump Tower 6 years ago, the Supreme Court and others are absolutely missing in action for this stuff. It's going on all over the country. As an example, local prosecutors in New York and other locations who horribly campaigned for office on, we're going to get Trump. This is how they campaign. We're going to get Trump. They know nothing about me. We're going to get him. Then got elected and are working overtime to fulfill their campaign promises. They've subpoenaed more than 9 million pages, big company, of documents, and virtually every deal I've ever done, hoping to find a mistake, an error, misspelled words, a comma out of place, or anything else that they can find that might be just a little bit wrong. We relied on major law firms, accounting firms, and other professionals to do this work. And to the best of my knowledge, they did it very, very well. As an example, the Attorney General of New York has hundreds of venomous quotes about me during her campaign. The District Attorney of Manhattan, where crime, death, and killings are rampant like never before, has happily stated that I have sued Trump more than any other person alive, over 100 times. And then he gets elected to take over the former Attorney General's job. And he's been after my family for years, but unable to find anything. They haven't been able to find anything other than a fringe benefits case. And accountants will tell you fringe benefit cases are not criminal cases. There's never been, that they know of, a fringe benefits case. There's never been a witch hunt or a fishing expedition like this. There's never been anything like it. And despite all of this, look at the job we did. This has been going on for years. And this is murderers and drug dealers roam the sidewalks of New York. They have a big portion of their staff working on Donald Trump. How do we get this guy? This has been going on as long as you've known me. It will continue as long as I'm leading in the polls like I am, both against all Republicans and all Democrats, and we're leading by a lot. By the way, if I ever wave sayonara, Texas, I'm going to go take it easy, everything would stop. I'd have a very wonderful life, but we don't want to do that because we have to save a country. Our country is dying. Our country is dying. But that's really what they want. It really is prosecutorial misconduct at the highest level. These prosecutors are vicious, horrible people. They're racists, and they're very sick. They're mentally sick. They're going after me without any protection of my rights by the Supreme Court or most other courts. In reality, they're not after me, they're after you. And I just happen to be the person that's in the way. That's what they're after. It's been going on for years. And you want to hear one, just to get off this subject, but you want to hear one, I just said, I got to put this down because it's so crazy. So just listen to this to top it all off about how crooked the DA's office in New York is. They couldn't get anything on me after years. So Hillary Clinton's law firm, Paul Weiss, Rifkin, Wharton, and Garrison, a big and powerfully connected Democrat firm in New York, run by, listen to this one, Chuck Schumer's brother, sent one of their biggest partners, Mark Pomerantz, partner of the firm, who took a leave of absence from the law firm, and two of their best younger lawyers to the district attorney's office to work there full-time for free. How the hell do you like that? I got Hillary Clinton's law firm trying to prosecute me. This is the most corrupt system. So I've got the firm. Hey, you know what? All these attorney generals, maybe you guys can get involved a little bit because they're making you all look bad. So think of it. So I've got the firm of Chuck Schumer's radical left brother, all these never-Trumpers working full-time in the prosecutor's office to get Trump because they couldn't do it before because they had nothing after all these years. Can you believe it? How do you like my life? You think I have a good time? Actually, I guess there's something going on because I do have a good time because you know what? We've done a great job for America. We've done a great job for this country. But this and other equally bad examples are what I've been putting up with for years. And despite that, we accomplished more in this presidency than virtually any other president in the history of our country. If these radical, vicious, racist prosecutors do anything wrong or illegal, I hope we are going to have in this country the biggest protest we have ever had in Washington, D.C., in New York, in Atlanta, and elsewhere, because our country and our elections are corrupt. They're corrupt. I'm trying to save the USA, which is in the worst condition and position that I believe it has ever been in. I don't think there's ever been a time where we were so disrespected and laughed at by the world. Our leaders are a joke who have no idea what they're doing, and things are happening now on a military basis around the world that would never have even been thinkable had the election not been rigged, and you end up with a different president. And right now, you have a president of the United States who is grossly incompetent. We would have had a deal with Iran. They were begging for it. We would have had a deal with Iran. The sanctions were killing them. They would have had a deal within 1 week after the election. We would have had a deal with Iran. Now they're being tough with the United States. Putin would never have moved troops to Ukraine. China would never have even thought about taking over Taiwan. I mean, Taiwan, that wasn't even going to be discussed with myself and President Xi. And watch what happens after the Olympics. I'm a good predictor. Watch what happens right after the Olympics with Taiwan and China. The Afghanistan surrender was perhaps the most embarrassing moment in the history of our country. We took the military out first, left hostages, caused death and injury to many people. During the 18 months before the surrender, not one American soldier was killed under my watch, not one. 18 months. And I talked with Abdul. I said, don't do it, Abdul. Don't do it. Don't do it. You're not going to be happy if you do it. Not one soldier. I talked to him. Abdul, he's currently the leader, too. He made a good deal. He got himself $85 billion worth of equipment. They had a parade 2 months ago down some street in Afghanistan. They were parading off all of our beautiful new equipment. Can you imagine that? 70,000 trucks, 700,000 machine guns and guns and rifles, 700,000. They're now a major arms dealer. They're selling all of our stuff. They'll keep enough for themselves, but they need 1/20th of what they have. Night goggles, that's better than what we have. They have the newest model, not even taken out of the boxes. Brand new planes, brand new helicopters, the best helicopters in the world, giving them to China so that China can take them apart and build them in their own fashion, giving them to Russia so they can take apart and re-engineer. I was withdrawing also. We should have withdrawn after 21 years, but we would have withdrawn with dignity and with strength. And we wouldn't have been embarrassed. We would have been the opposite. We would have kept Bagram, the big air base that we spent billions and billions of dollars building 25 years ago, not because of Afghanistan, but because it's located 1 hour away from the Chinese nuclear weapons plant. And now China will occupy this base, which cost us so much money. We ran without even turning off the lights. We left, can you imagine? We left Bagram, the biggest Air Force base in the world, longest and most powerful runways, 8 feet thick of concrete and steel. We left that to the Chinese to take over right next to China. 1 hour, think of that, 1 hour away from where they make their nuclear weapon. Wouldn't it have been nice for us to have kept that? $85 billion worth of equipment behind, including the dogs. They did leave the dogs, by the way. You know, they tried to say, oh, we did. So this is what we have. We have an incompetent government that was elected through a rigged election, and they don't know what the hell they're doing. It's actually amazing that I received, the first time, 63 million votes, because the press is corrupt, totally corrupt. The press is the enemy of the people, all right? They're totally corrupt. And the first time won the election and then did much better the second time. It was interesting. I was being interviewed by a New York Times reporter. He said, what happened the second time? I said, well, we did much better. We got 12 million more votes. He said, you know, come to think of it, it's true, actually. But, you know, when something's rigged, it wouldn't have mattered if I got 25 million more votes. That's how bad it was. It would have been impossible to lose if I had even 63 or 64. The number one pollster in the country said, if you got 64 million votes or 65 million votes, it's not possible that you lose. We got 75 million votes, and they stole it, they rigged it, and it's a disgrace to our nation. We're like a third world country. And our country is paying the biggest price in its history because we're going to hell, and we're going to hell very fast, and we soon will not have a country left with all that's happening to this incredible land of ours by these radical left crazy people. And just remember this, in 1 year, what they've done to our country, it's not even believable. If you would have said all of these things were happening with the economy, with inflation, with our military, with our woke generals they don't have a clue, with all of the, and by the way, we have great generals. I just want to leave you with some positive. When I took on, and you have to understand, this is very important, because I took on ISIS, we took on al-Baghdadi, all the other, our military is incredible, but not the generals that you see on television. Those guys are not incredible. And they don't represent our country, and they don't represent who we are. As we speak, the radical Democrats are aggressively pushing to permanently expand their mass mail-in ballot fraud nationwide. And you wonder, why do they want to do that when they cheated so successfully in the election, right? They don't have a voting rights bill. They have a voting fraud bill. That's a voting fraud. That's a bill that says, if you pass this, there will never be a Republican elected again in this country. That's what that bill says. Every Senate Democrat supports abolishing voter ID in every state, forcing ballot harvesting on every state, forcing unsecured drop boxes on every state, and letting left-wing billionaires pump dark money into local election offices. So Zuckerberg, right? 417 million. You know, if you're involved in politics and if you give 10 cents more than $5,600, they put you in jail. This guy gave $417 million, and they're doling it out all over the country. It's a disgrace. The only possible reason for Democrats to support such a bill is that they want to enable cheating and fraud on a massive scale like you've never seen before. But I think we have seen it before, because I don't believe they could do it any better or any more than they did it in the election of 2020. When Republicans take over, we need to pass voter ID, signature verification, residency confirmation, no more unmanned and unsecured drop boxes. You ever see these drop boxes? Did you ever look at the votes that came in, the percentages? They were nice when they gave me 1%. And no more ballot harvesting. No more ballot harvesting. And that's what the law calls for. We should pass legislation cracking down hard on any city or state that attempts to allow illegal aliens to vote. Only American citizens should vote in American elections. And if it were solely up to me, I'd have one-day elections using only paper ballots, except for military and seriously ill or disabled people. One day, we have these elections, they go on for weeks and weeks. The boxes are sitting in corners. They're moving all over the place. Nobody knows what the hell is going on. Few people do. How about the woman? She grabbed the votes under the table. Remember the leak? We have a water main break. Everybody leave. They come back in, lift up the skirt of the table and start. This is what we have. It's a disgrace. We're like a third world country. We're just 9 months away from what could be the most important midterm victory in all of American history. Great people, including the people that we just mentioned. Our country is at stake, and we need a landslide so enormous that the radical Democrats cannot steal it no matter what they do. That's what we need. If we make it big enough, it gets very, very hard. So to every patriot here today, I ask you to get ready to work, to get ready to fight, and to get ready to win, and win like never before. This is the year we're going to take back the House. We're going to take back the Senate. We're going to take back America. And in 2024, We are going to take back that beautiful, beautiful house that happens to be white, that is so magnificent, and that we all love. We are going to take back the White House. With a Republican Congress, we will fight for more jobs for American families, fair trade for American workers, and more American factories forging more products, stamped with that beautiful phrase, made in the USA. We will shut down Joe Biden's border disaster. We will again end catch and release. We will quickly complete the border wall. It will be done in 3 weeks. We will end chain migration, and we will make sure those admitted to our country share our values and love our people. We will hold China accountable for unleashing the virus and charge them trillions of dollars for the damage and suffering they have caused. We will end the foreign influence buying of our corrupt political class, and we will make clear that the government of the United States is not for sale. Look at what's happening. We will break up big tech, and we will restore the right to free speech in America. We will have free speech again. You know, somebody said, how do you solve the problem? If we had an honest press with honest reporters that would go around and speak the truth, it would all be solved. But we don't have that. It's a much bigger problem than anyone, and nobody knows how corrupt. You know, if you're a carpenter, you drive a taxi, you're a Wall Street person, doesn't matter. You don't know how dishonest they are because, you know, you're not there. So when I speak to a reporter, I know what happened. I know what I told the reporter. And when the story comes in totally different with the exact opposite meaning, nobody's going to know that but me. They are really corrupt, and they're really bad for the country, and you'll never solve the problem. You have to get honest reporters. You have to get reporting back. You have to have free speech and fair, open newspapers and all forms of medium. What's happening is so bad. It's never been like this. It started a long time ago. It's gotten to a point that's unacceptable. It's going to destroy our corrupt media, is going to destroy our country if we don't do something about it. We will protect innocent life. We will defend our Constitution. We will defend the Second Amendment, and we will proudly uphold the Judeo-Christian values and principles of our nation's founder. And to finish, we will ban critical race theory in our classrooms. We will ban it in our military. We will ban it from our workplaces, and we will ban it from our federal, state, and local governments. And I did that. But as soon as he came in, he unbanned it. It was totally banned. It was ended. And then he came in, and they did an executive order, and they did an unbanning. I'll do that first day, first hour if I decide to run, and if we win. And another thing we'll do, and so many people have been asking me about it, if I run and if I win, we will treat those people from January 6th fairly. We will treat them fairly. And if it requires pardons, we will give them pardons because they are being treated so unfairly. This hasn't happened to all of the other atrocities that took place recently. Nothing like this has happened. What that unselect committee is doing and what the people are doing that are running those prisons, it's a disgrace. It's a disgrace. We will treat them fairly, and we will take care of the people of this country, all of the people of this country. We will fire the woke generals who only know how to lose. They only know how to lose. We will restore pride in our armed forces, and we will keep the United States out of these ridiculous foreign wars where they don't even want us. We will ban men from participating in women's sports. So ridiculous. Did you see the man who was on the swimming team at a certain school that I know very well? The record held for like 11 years. He beat it by 38 seconds. But the best is the weightlifting records. They're going. One guy walks in with one hand. He's going like this. He broke the record that held up for 20 years. For 20 years, they're putting like a little half an ounce on each side of the weights, and the women are working so hard. This guy comes in. Have you lifted before? No. Oh, wow. Take a look at the weightlifting record. You want to see some real, think of it. 2 ounces is unacceptable. They beat him by many pounds. We will restore patriotic education to our schools. And we will teach our children to love their country, honor our history, and to always respect our great American flag. Our MAGA movement is by far the greatest political movement in the history of our country. And I say it all the time, and they never even, the fake news, they never even question it, because it is. There's never been anything like it. And you know what it really stands for? Loving our country. That's all it is. Together we are standing up against some of the most sinister forces, entrenched interests, and vicious opponents our people have ever seen. You could say our country has never seen anything like it. But no matter how big or powerful these corrupt radicals may be, you must never forget our nation does not belong to them. Our nation belongs to you. Well, to you. This is your home, this is your heritage, and our American liberty is your God-given right. From Houston to Austin, from Dallas to El Paso, from the Red River to the Rio Grande, the people of Texas live and breathe the fierce spirit of independence, and the Lone Star State has always embraced the cause of American freedom like no one else or like no place else. This is the state where William Travis, James Bowie, and Davy Crockett made their last stand at the Alamo. I love the Alamo. This is the state where a small band of patriots from the Battle of Gonzales, armed with a single cannon, stared down a foreign army that was so powerful and declared, "Come and take it." And Texas is the state where generations of farmers and ranchers and sheriffs and lawmen, cowboys and cattle hands, prospectors, pioneers helped build up the greatest nation in the history of the world, and we will never let any socialist or communist movement take that away from us. There is no mountain we cannot climb. There is no summit we cannot reach. There is no challenge we cannot meet. There is no victory we cannot have, because faith is lifting up our souls, American pride is beating in our hearts, and pure, unflinching courage is coursing through our veins. We will not bend. We will not break. We will not yield. We will never give in. We will never give up. We will never, ever back down. My fellow Americans, this incredible journey we are on together has only just begun. And it is time to start talking about greatness for our country again. We want to talk about greatness. We don't want to talk about the things we've been talking about. What have we been talking about? COVID, the environment. The sea is going to rise 1/100th of an inch within the next 300 years. We want to talk about greatness for our country, because we are one movement, one people, one family, and one glorious nation under God. And together we will make America powerful again. We will make America wealthy again. We will make America strong again. We will make America proud again. We will make America safe again. We will make America united again. And we will make America great again. Thank you, Texas. Thank you.